Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
It's the house!
You know, that's just one step above stupid. Evil can never be dead enough.
And some of you, you make shit up.
Yo, what's going on? Oh, looks like the dog picture is gone. Hey, thanks, Only Chevys. I'm eating one of those. That actually makes me feel a lot better. The Vicks. You know, a little cough drop. I don't know what it is, but it makes you feel different. Better, I guess. Hold on, let me try to get the dog. It's not going to work right now, but maybe it'll kick in here in a minute. They seem to be doing better, the dogs now. We have them running around inside the house. There they are. They didn't pee on anything. Clancy's already been fixed, so he's alright. And Chloe and Gracie were... No, it's like I keep testing myself. It doesn't see, there it is right there. All this is on the main one. You know, I tested for flu and COVID like 5 times. So it's some other bug, I guess. I don't know. My wife had it and then I got it. But hey, whatever. Anyways, thanks there to Only Chevy. All right, there you go. Oh, the fly. Yeah, you probably hit your own screen trying to kill that fly that's up there. Anyways, there's these lunatic fringe people, but for some reason they get a lot of views. You know, like people, even if you have 2,000 subs, if they make a video that has me in it, they get like 7,000 views. Well, I'm putting out a copyright strike on this one lunatic who channel ends with the name Sector. I was kind enough to do the 7-day one. I could have had it immediately removed, but we'll see what they do. But these people don't give a shit. They're just complete crazy town people. So what we're going to do is go over the entire transcript of one of their a video. Okay, it's not a video. It's not anything. It's just the transcript. Public information. The video isn't, let's see, there's been a wave of early summer. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I never get sick in the summertime. Thanks, Ann Taylor Fan Club. All right, so let's just, and by the way, I've been working on my final video. I think I'm done with the actual video itself, but I'm making a shortened, you know, where Dylan hears the comment about someone being here and looks out her door for the, you know, just different things, and then at the end it's its own video. You know, but at the end I have the bathroom. You know, it's just kind of is what it is. You know, he's leaving. So the last part, he's in the bathroom, comes out and attacks Xana again. That's just a theory that I've always had. See, what's weird is these people out there, they make it sound like that this is the only theory. This is just one. I'm making a video that's representative of what may have happened. You know, some variation of that. You know, we've always had, you know, either, I mean, even back when I would say that maybe Xana and Ethan were attacked first, I would always say it's probably more likely that Madison and Kaylee were attacked first. I'd always say the same thing over and over and over again. And, so the stuff on Dateline, even the part about going to the kitchen by Xana, we've talked about before. That exact theory. Before they even put it on there. The only part that we didn't have was that he sat in a chair, or maybe it was the ottoman that was there. Lately we heard something about maybe he cleaned up a little bit, so I put that in for the bathroom. Stuff like that. But these people, they're just crazy. And all the people, they always say, gray pubes. Like they're so childish, like 4-year-olds. But I am 59 years old, and maybe there are a couple gray ones down there, okay? It's just, you guys are absolutely sick people. It's bizarre, man. It's absolutely nuts, Like they actually think of that kind of stuff. Wow. I can assure you I'm not thinking about your pubic hair, okay, and what color it is. My God. Just heard if you comment, it should be at least 9 words to help push the video out. Yeah, if you guys want to, that'd be great. All right, so here we go. If you want to type more, longer phrases. I'm sure maybe they're talking about after the video's over. You are never, I don't know what that means. You're never 59? What? Yikes. Let's see. People who want to perseverate over a specific order of events in the house. Right. Yeah, they try to say all these different things. I mean, it's just really, it's crazy, right? Looney Tune stuff. I don't know what happened in the house. I'm just coming up with something that I think it was kind of like what I'm showing. I think they went upstairs first. Of course, I don't know if, Xana stepped on the stairs with her right foot first or her left foot first. I don't know what color, exactly what clothing she was wearing. We don't know if she changed clothes after that one picture we saw. We don't know any of that stuff. Now, we don't know if Kohberger went up in the room and killed Madison and Kaylee really like at 4:10-ish. And sat there doing whatever he's doing in that room for 3 or 4 minutes. And then Xana goes to the kitchen and sees the door open and goes, let me go upstairs, and goes up. There's all kinds of variants up there. But rest assured, everybody, the person that is sitting up in that room is Brian Kohberger. He is the killer in this case. And that's my opinion, and it's going to turn out to be correct. Look at that guy. He's so egotistical. Look at all of you guys think the same thing. If you have a brain that works, okay? If your brain works, you'll think Kohberger did it. If your brain has malfunctioned permanently, you won't think he did it.
Knife emoji, knife emoji, knife emoji.
Thanks, Ted Bundy. There you go. See, at least Ted Bundy's helping support the channel tonight. All right. Ted Bundy. All right, you get the lightning bolt if you help support the channel tonight. All right, so let's see. This is how it starts off. Hunter's fraternity, Phi Delta Theta, was on Elm Street across from his girlfriend, Emily, sorority Pi Beta Phi, and both of them came to the home. The reason this is important is because of the estimated time it takes to travel to the home from the neighborhood, which is only 2 or 3 minutes. Again, we asked the question, which scenario is more likely, considering this fact, a call at 11:50 a.m. to Emily. Okay, what does that have to do with anything, Or at a call at 4:27 a.m., since there was a call at 27 a.m., I don't know what the hell that means, by Dylan, which wasn't identified. It was obviously about the massacre. And who would Dylan notify about the massacre? Emily and Hunter. Okay. Yeah, but except that's not what happened at 4:27. We got 4:27. We have Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen. Dylan Mortensen, outgoing call. And then, maybe that's the one you're talking about. Then Dylan Mortensen outgoing on Snapchat. Dylan Mortensen calls Kaylee, etc. But that doesn't mean like all of a sudden, oh my God, hey, there's like you're covering up something. She might have been calling saying, hey, have you heard from them? Because they're friends. Hey, have you heard from any of these people? Yeah, it's just, I mean, going over these, when you watch these videos, this one was all about my video that I made, this animation. That's why I'm going over this. Now, they just trashed the animation, and oh my God, that gray guy, he's always doing this, he's always doing that. And what they never say, listen, on my channel, I do try to get people to help support the channel financially every single night that I do the show, because I know that what it takes throughout a month to be able to, at the end of the month, donate thousands of dollars. Okay, I could easily just survive on just the random stuff, right? And then there'd be zero that we ever did for anything. Okay, this channel's given $244,000 out. You always hear that missed from the trolls' comments whenever they bash the channel, saying, "Hey, that gray guy, he's always trying." Yes, I do. I admit it. I try to bring in the funds and keep the ball rolling. Last night was our worst night of the entire month. So hopefully, if you guys have the ability to during this show, that would be great. Let's see. Call, and then it says, simple. So what we've concluded is Hunter and Emily were there prior to the 1150. Right. They, sure. You didn't conclude that. They were there before that because they went upstairs and Hunter saw the bodies and then body, and then had him go back downstairs again. Remember, he went to the kitchen to get a knife, etc. Call and so-called arrival. We broke down the setting of course. Now let's address something for a moment recently. This person can barely speak. It's crazy. But everybody's like, oh, good stuff. Oh, this is so good. There was a claim that Kohberger targeted Madison and Xana. Madison and Xana had gone upstairs to check on the violence. Yep, being plucked out of thin air once again. And guess who tries to make sense of something that doesn't make sense? That's right, Grant Hughes. Dying, something, and Skeletor. Is Keith Morrison, by the way, Skeletor is Keith Morrison, by the way. They're claiming that Xana had gone upstairs. Kohberger apparently was targeting Madison specifically, and Xana decided to go investigate. Okay, so the time this alleged to have happened was 4:07 a.m. No, that's not what time it was. If you knew the case at all, you'd know that the car parked at right around 4:08, and he obviously wasn't in the house at that time. So it's later than that. See, I don't know the precise timing of everything, but I think Kohberger may have gotten to the house at like 4:11-ish, something like that. And then Xana's going to her room because he's preparing to come back to the car with blood spatter mitigation. Hey, thank you, Shay 530. I know, how ridiculous. They called Keith Morrison Skeletor. These people are sick. Okay. I mean, even if you look like Skeletor, why would you call him that? You guys are mean. All right. In this setting, you have Madison being attacked. Let's see. So they were saying it was. Let me go back. It's hard to read it with these stupid time codes. Hughes, Dine. No. Then Skeletor is Keith Morrison, claiming that Xana had gone upstairs. Kohberger apparently was targeting Madison specifically, and Xana decided to go investigate. Okay, so the time this alleged to have happened was 4:07. No, that's incorrect. In this setting, you have Madison being attacked. Kaylee is I'm not sure what K is. Kay is yelling. Xana decides to check what's going on, and Murphy is barking first. It was who's talking about Murphy barking? See how these people, they just invent stuff at this point? He wasn't barking yet. It was suggested that Kaylee was the target, as many reported that she was being stalked, and now it's Madison. Right. Well, the thing is, people thought it was Kaylee at first for the targeting, and also because Stephen Gonzalez was saying how she was hurt worse, like she was the target, but it turns out Madison Mogan's more likely the target, since that's the window you can look through if you pull right up outside there. Let's see. In this setting, you have Madison being attacked. Kaylee is yelling. Xana decides to check what's going on, and Murphy is barking. First, it was suggested that Kaylee was the target. As many reported, she was being stalked, and now it's Madison. Who was being stalked? And now it's Madison who is being stalked. But if they are claiming there is evidence that Kohberger stalked Madison specifically, then why did they initially claim Kaylee was being stalked? Well, when you say they, it wasn't law enforcement. It was just people in the media would say that. See, again, these people, their brains don't work. Just saying the word they. Law enforcement wasn't saying that it was Kaylee being stalked or anybody. That was just the narrative that was out in public. Law enforcement may have, for a much longer period of time, believed that Madison was the killer. See how it's easy just to rip apart these idiots? I mean, it's just unbelievable. Did they initially, I think it just gets way worse. I haven't even, I didn't take the time to watch the whole video. I just want to go through it because I saw these little diagrams and pictures and, yeah. Did they initially claim Kaylee was being stalked? You see, yet there hasn't been any proof, like documented proof, that can be used against Kohberger in court. But back to the issue regarding Xana, because they're trying to create a scenario to justify everything Gray Hughes presented as bogus animation of that time frame. Now let's view this for a moment. So she plays the entire thing, my animation, without permission, anything like that. It goes for 1:30 with, and it was the whole thing that I had put out. And so I did put out a copyright strike on that channel. All right, so too bad. Now this is what Dateline basically claimed happened, and everyone is rumbled downhill with the narrative. Skeletor claimed that Madison was the target. Now where in the hell are they getting this information from? Oh, that's right. A source. That source never claimed Madison was the target during the investigation. Though, okay, so well, how do you know the source never said anything like that? Problem going, let's see, it says, right? That source never claimed Madison was the target during the investigation. Though, okay, so the first problem going all the way back to one of the initial questions we asked, if there wasn't 4th century, then the sliding doors were unlocked. Okay, so the justification for this is that Xana had just received her DoorDash delivery. No, it just means that her the sliding glass door may have not worked at all. It was broken. That's why law enforcement had to use the chairs to keep it locked. Well, it didn't dawn on her to lock the door. That's fine. The logic of how the alleged Kohberger slipped into the home exists here, yet it doesn't add up based on there being a specific target. Gray Hughes and Skeletor seem to not understand this setting. Kohberger targets Madison, right? So he would know what college she went to, knew what college she went to, knew what car she drove, knew where her friends and knew where she stayed, in knowing where she stayed, Kohberger would know that there was a full house. So if he intended on attacking only Madison, then he would have to find another way to isolate her. See, this lunatic doesn't seem to understand that Madison Mogen had her own bedroom. And he waited till 4 something in the morning. He didn't realize that Kaylee Gonzalez was in the room. And he was merely going to quietly enter the house, go upstairs, and kill Madison Mogen, and then leave. But what happened was Xana just happened to be awake because she ordered DoorDash. And he still was so ready to go, he just did it anyways. And it just so happens that Xana had noticed maybe the sliding glass door was open, etc. All right, guys. How do we get the support going for tonight's show? I've already explained it again. I need you guys' support when I do these live streams. I just watched a lunatic YouTuber doing a live stream, total pro burger nut job, and it looked like a freaking slot machine in there. Okay, so when I'm doing these shows, at least I'm doing it the right way. I would appreciate it if you guys would support this channel. Okay, I don't know why it's just have to keep doing this over and over again. The home exists here, yet it doesn't add up based on there being specific target. Grant Hughes and Skeletor seem to not understand the setting. Kohberger targets Madison right, so he would know that college she went to, knew what car she drove, knew what her friends were, knew what where she stayed. In knowing where she stayed, Kohberger would know that there was a full house, so if he intended on attacking only Madison, then he would have to find another way to isolate her. From everyone else, mind you, this target is one person. If Madison stayed in an apartment by herself, yet had the same friends, this would be totally different, although there is possibility that she may have company over, arriving later at night during a time frame she expected to be asleep is a perfect chance to attack. It would be easy to follow her to that apartment, wait around, watch as the lights are turned on. That's exactly what he did here. Thanks, Ted Bundy,
Knife
and for the
emoji,
coffee,
knife
and
emoji,
Tamran.
Knife emoji, knife emoji, knife emoji.
Would not only show she stayed in a full house. Okay, let's see. Follow her to that apartment, wait around as the lights are turned off, and his target is murdered by Kohberger. And his target is murdered? What? Are you talking about another person? What are you talking about? That she may have
Thanks
company
for
over,
donating to a
arriving
good
later.
cause, unlike other channels.
Yeah, well, thanks, Philly Girl. That's what I'm saying. Is like my channel gives away a lot as well. Like we do a lot of great things for the true crime community, not just the shows. So that's why it's just disheartening when you see a complete troll, just psycho YouTubers. Looks like they're at Las Vegas, you know. Well, let's see. Friends, this would be totally different, although there's a possibility that she may have company over, or what is she saying? From everyone else, mind you, his target is one person. If Madison stayed in an apartment by herself, yet had the same friends, this would be totally different, although there's a why does it matter? That she may have company over, arriving later at night during a time frame she is expected to be asleep is a perfect chance to attack. It would be easy to follow her to that apartment, wait around, watch as the lights are turned off, and his target is murdered, but Kohberger would not only know she stayed in a full house with her peers, but also the residence itself was known to be a party house. Yeah, but this is 4 something in the morning here. Let's see. And there's a possibility that college peers would come over it would cause an unpredicted encounter, let alone the housemates. I know, but we all know that. That's a possibility. Somebody could have came over, but maybe not at 4:30 in the morning. He waited and watched, and he was looking at the lights. See, I don't know, man. I don't think common sense is utilized by a lot of these people. It's kind of scary, actually. Xana finally reaches the 3rd floor. Investigator, let's see. Alone, the housemates who are already inside during the alleged attack, well, Gray Hughes and Skeletor have Xana investigating what is going on upstairs, and she comes face to face with Kohberger. Now, but see, when they say Skeletor, he got that from one of his inside sources. And by the way, don't you guys put credibility to the inside sources that Dateline got? And I do. And can you tell me why I have faith in the sources that Dateline use? Can you tell me why? All right, go ahead. What is it? Why do I have faith in the sources that Dateline had in the background? Anybody know? It's really obvious. It's one of those things. Anybody? Nah, that's not the reason. The reason is because even Judge Hippler and Ann Taylor are saying that they used inside information that was a leak. And it wouldn't be a leak if it was just bogus information. If it was all just filled with garbage, that wouldn't be a leak, would it? So that's telling. It's telling us that what we heard in there was a lot of truthful information. I already said that, Starry Nights. Too late. Xana finally reached the 3rd floor. Madison is already deceased, and Kaylee as well. Now, can Hughes Skeletor explain how Kohberger is able to stab Madison to death with Kaylee right there? Well, I can tell you exactly how, idiot.
Surf the emoji. Surf the wave. Cool face emoji.
Hey, thanks, Michelle H. Just trying to get a wave going. I can tell you exactly how. They're both asleep on the bed, and Kohberger comes up and stabs Madison first and kills her. I don't even think Madison ever woke up. Just stabbed her, killed her, and then Kaylee woke up because of that sound and then started to try to defend herself. There you go. Doesn't that make sense? I mean, it just seems so obvious and simple. Like it's not like complicated stuff. How Kohberger is able to stab Madison to death with Kaylee right there, with Kaylee being there, and even Murphy barking. Well, we don't know, but Murphy wasn't barking at that time. See, these people don't even know the information. It's insane. And even barking like crazy, it's impossible for Kohberger to maintain composure and from focus on his so-called target, despite Madison's petite frame. She should be physically fighting back, trying to survive. When you say should, she would be. She would be physically fighting back, trying to survive. Kaylee wouldn't just stand there silent. No. See, the thing is, it's the attack itself that woke up Kaylee, who wasn't as intoxicated as Madison was. You guys see where I'm going here? Like how ridiculous this stuff is? It's insanity. You're never going in. Who's berating it? Are you a sub of mine, Andrea? I'll berate you. You're an idiot. Okay, get out of here. What are you talking about? You are never going to get anywhere berating subs. Where? What sub am I berating right now? This is an idiot YouTube channel who stole my animation, you fool. Get out of here. And now, yes, I am. See, here's the thing: is you're one of those passive-aggressive nut jobs,
Stealing your
Andrea.
hard work is beyond immoral and shameful.
You come in here and you say, "Oh, you'll be ready." Well, now I'm going to do that to you because you just said that. See that? There you go. Look at Andrea right there. That's what passive-aggressive people do. Good job, Andrea. You're awesome. You are awesome, Andrea. Great passive-aggressive. What a fool. Hey, thanks, Jessica Shoebox. Stealing your hard work beyond immoral, shameful. Amberlyn says hello. Didn't I call you guys out? Didn't I just call that exact scenario right there? Andrea, the passive-aggressive nut job. Wasn't that amazing? And you guys say I can't investigate. That's hilarious. Oh, man, that's beautiful. Hey, thanks Ted Bundy and Cinnamon Sin Freak, Ann Berlin and Jessica Shoebach. All right, so now, it's a 30-something minute video using my animation, still frames of it, a whole video, and then still frames of it throughout. And then she started inserting little dumb, stupid pictures and things. It was unreal. All right, so here it goes. Petite frame. She should be physically. They're talking about Madison. She would be physically fighting back. Does anybody think that Madison Mogen fought back at all? She's dead asleep, highly intoxicated, probably totally out cold, and he came up and he attacked her. Okay? Now, what was wild, M10? I hope none of you actually saw this video. I mean, it's like... All right. Hey, Zozo, the Vicks vape cough drops seem to work pretty good. But look how stupid the wording is. It's like, so-called target, despite Madison's petite frame, she would be physically fighting back, trying to survive. Kaylee wouldn't just stand there silent. She would scream, she would start going, "What are you doing?" and start, stopping him. She wouldn't just immediately start screaming. See, people just think that everybody screams. Yes, everybody, real life is Hollywood, where there's always a scream. Would scream, which would alarm everyone in the house and could also try to help. Best friend Murphy would be barking. This person puts in so many things that, assuming have to be true, and therefore, because it didn't happen, it has to be the other thing. Would be barking, and since it was reported he wasn't, I repeat, wasn't locked in Kaylee's room, Murphy may have been a poodle. But he would come to Madison's room, and because he went over to the scenario time and time again, it's impossible for a lone killer to murder 4 victims. Just impossible. The only way this is possible, which the mainstream media and even law enforcement tried alluding to, is slicing throats throughout the home as they slept, mind you. Nobody was confirmed to actually be asleep. Nevertheless, you have to account for the housemates that aren't being physically attacked while the... this is just absolute lunacy stuff. You see how there's no common sense? Plus, this person can barely speak. It's it's hard to make out what they're actually saying. Nevertheless, you have to account for the housemates that aren't being physically attacked while the lone killer is attacking another. If there are multiple people in the home, screaming will be heard alarming. No, listen. It's very simple. There was only one of the 4 people that were killed was awake and moving around, and that's Xana Kernodle. Madison and Kaylee were asleep on that bed. He goes upstairs. He kills Madison first. Kaylee likely was sort of startled, maybe even struck her, and she woke up and was like, oh, and she tried to fight back, and he pummeled her. Like, just caved in her face with punching over and over and over again. And both of them are dead within a minute. But it just so happens that Xana, who was awake, was walking around, could hear stuff, and went to check. I think instead of, just my opinion, you know, how it says in the document, how it says that she said, somebody's here. I think she said, is somebody here? She asked a question going up those stairs because she noticed the sliding glass door. She walks down the hall, goes up the stairs. This is just a theory, but it's based on sort of how things would go. Then she goes upstairs, maybe, you know, sees him, and he, chases her back down. Either way, however he got back to Xana's room, Ethan is probably sleeping. You know, the part that, like, in the scenarios is like, he attacks Madison, or like Xana first down there, not first overall, but down in the room. And then Ethan, I have it where he attacks Xana, and he thinks he killed her, and then he goes over and, inflicts like a wound to an artery. Hey, thanks, Michelle H. You don't think he would have left the slider open? I do. I have it set that way. I don't think he would have wanted to touch it again. However, that would help my other theory. You know when I have him go to the bathroom? Here, watch. See it near the end here. He's in the bathroom. That's Dylan in her room, just kind of listening. And he's like cleaning his hands because he doesn't want any blood on his hands, because that makes it even better when he goes out to the car and changes everything. And then Xana starts trying to get up again, and he hears her. Hey, it's okay, I'm going to help you. But he actually kills her. Again, that's why you hear the thud on the ground. And then he takes off, and he goes out the back, the sliding glass doors. And look, there's Dylan, sees him coming. He just makes that quick turn, so it was quiet, probably didn't see. But this is what it would have looked like, watch. Boom, bushy eyebrows right there. Out the sliding glass door, thank you very much. All right. Yeah, so maybe he wouldn't have minded if the doors was shut, because then he could have slid it open. All right. A lone killer's attacking another. If there are multiple people in the hum, screaming will be heard, alarming everyone. And now, yeah, but not if you kill two people really quick in the upstairs room. Thanks, Ted Bundy. Everyone, and now the lone killer is forced to retreat just due to the presence of physical bodies running around, yelling and screaming. In other words, you're not leaving that home without challenge. Even if you manage to escape, the challenge doesn't have to be necessarily physical, although that will be more likely happen. But it's the challenge of having scared housemates running around in every which direction. And again, but it wasn't. It was really simple the way he did it. You're just, again, Murphy is a significant deterrent. Oh, Jesus. As well now. Well, he didn't even know Murphy was going to be there, okay? Because Kaylee wasn't going to be there. Significant deterrent as well. Now in Hughes's animation, Xana sees Koba? What's that? Sees Koba. She then runs downstairs and heads... Kohberger, you mean. Xana sees Kohberger. She then runs downstairs and heads to her room. Okay, I guess she ran for safety to get inside. Well, I think she went to her room because she was just kind of like, who is this person? And then she felt nervous when he started chasing her. That's when she started running a little bit. If that's how it went. I mean, nobody knows exactly how it went. But somebody has to make some sort of a video to show what maybe it would have been like. Alright guys, but if you're out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, we're still trying to fund our $6,000 a year scholarship fund. We got our DNA fund that we're working on. And my channel relies on you guys on a nightly basis. There is no ad revenue to speak of on these live streams. So if you feel like I do a good job and you want to support what the channel does, that'd be great. There's a lot of trolls out there that try to keep people from supporting my channel, and I feel like it actually has affected the number of people who support, because it used to be where it didn't seem to be an issue, but I'm having to bring it up more often than I'd like. So if you're out there and you have the ability to, if you could please support the channel, that'd be great. The month end is coming up in 5 days, and I need to try to keep things going strongly till the end of the month. All right, we just really took sort of a dramatic turn downwards the last 3 days. All right, and it shouldn't be too difficult with 400 and something people watching to try to reach a goal. And look at, there's Judy Grandstrand with 5 memberships. Ted Bundy, Head in the Clouds. Ted Bundy was gifted a membership. Cindy, Sergeant Rigby Pepper, and Bill Wise. Thank you. Okay, so man, I guess she ran for safety to get inside and lock the door, right? Yet none of this was heard by Dylan. Shirley was leaving dust behind as she ran down the stairs, and surely Kohberger was in a rush to catch her. That would be a lot of steps being heard by Dylan. I think it sounded like they were one person because they were right next to each other. She didn't hear any of this because it's not in her affidavit. She heard one person running down the stairs, for sure. See, and because this is not in her affidavit, which actually supports the lone killer narrative, then this is exactly what is being presented by Hughes animation, plucked out of thin air. You see when skeleton... No. The thing is it's not plucked out of thin air. That's something we've actually thought about before. We've discussed this on the show. That Xana went to the kitchen, and maybe, that's when she encountered him. Don't really know. It could be that... oh, jeez. What's happening? Who's talking about Cindy? What are you guys talking about? Cindy, come on, let's get moving on. All right, let's see. Steps being heard by Dylan, yet apparently she didn't hear any of this because it's not in her affidavit. Yeah, well, she did say in her affidavit that she heard, we heard in court, that somebody was running down the stairs, but she thought it was one of the people, the 2 roommates that were upstairs. Because he's an idiot. He turned it off, Royal. That's why he took it with him, because he turned it off, and he needed to turn it back on for mapping purposes later, to get across, from Highway 95 to 195. So, see, and because this is not in her affidavit, which is actually supports the lone killer narrative, then this is exactly what is being presented by Hughes. Hughes's animation, plucked out of thin air. You see, when Skeletor and Dateline say there are, quote, new findings in the case, such as this scenario, everyone should immediately link this to Dylan's affidavit because it wasn't in her affidavit, which provides supportive eyewitness accounts. No, she did say that. Wait, I forget something. Who is this information coming from? It would have to be Dylan or Bethany. Now, since Bethany's affidavit was basically swept under the rug, then this information is coming from Dylan. Yet how can she claim that Xana went upstairs? She didn't claim that. She claimed that she heard somebody coming down the stairs, and she thought it was either Madison or Kaylee. But it wasn't. I don't know how you could hear something and know which person it was, because it wasn't speaking. Can she claim that Xana went upstairs if she never mentioned hearing or seeing Xana going upstairs in her affidavit? I'm done. This is beyond unacceptable to wait. I need to practice patience. Here, the reason this was not in her affidavit is because it would indicate that there was a danger in her home, which prompted Xana to go check. You see, this is why it wasn't included in Dylan's affidavit, although it supports... What is that even? This is so stupid. It has no logical sense. It's just somebody saying something. Because it would indicate that there was a danger. Yeah, obviously. That's why she went upstairs. Right. Wasn't included in Dylan's affidavit, although it supports the lone killer narrative if Xana heard the screaming and attacks upstairs. Dylan would have heard it also, yet how can Xana go inquire about the danger, yet Dylan's affidavit claims she thought Kaylee was upstairs playing with Murphy. It's a catch-22. Yep, it was included. Then Xana would have been aware of danger, and just like this crappy animation, Xana would... Does anybody think that my animation is crappy? Like, it sucks? Like, it's just some shitty... I think it's pretty close to kind of like what happened, but there's probably a lot more time and different... I don't know what Did he sit there in the chair for 2 minutes? Nobody knows any of that stuff. So you just kind of have to... You cut it out. It's still 3 minutes and 30 seconds long, which is 30 seconds short of the 4 minutes that law enforcement... They said it could take 2 to 4 minutes to do what he did. Xana would have ran yelling, "Someone is in my home! Ethan, please help me!" No, not if you walk to the room, you see somebody standing in there, you don't know who it is, you're not going to say that. Well, I guess Xana didn't make it to the bedroom to get Ethan to help her. That's because he was already deceased. Oh my God. Because this never happened, okay? Let me calm down. Xana saw Ethan as her knight and shining armor. He was her protector. There's no way she didn't yell out to him running down the stairs. But Dylan didn't hear that, so you're wrong. Even if he was allegedly asleep. Now watch, this is the setting where Xana is running back to her room. How are they going to rationalize Xana's fierce struggle and somehow Ethan being murdered? Yeah, I mean, that's something we've talked about. Like, there's this fight there, but I don't, it's like he's passed out, though. He drank a lot, and he's just out cold. Some people just sleep. That's just what happens, And who knows if he didn't kind of just open his eyes and was like, what's going on? Like, he's just totally out of it. Murdered in the sleep, you can't, because Xana would have been screaming, heading back to her room, which would have awakened Ethan. All of this hysterical activity, and Dylan somehow didn't hear any of it. Yeah, okay, that's why the claim Xana going upstairs was left out of the affidavit because Dylan would have to explain this scenario. What are you talking about? The affidavit. Like, it was just, so it was left out intentionally? You're saying like there was this... She was literally aware of Xana and Ethan being murdered. She was literally aware of Xana. Who's she? Oh yeah, Xana going upstairs was left out of the affidavit because Dylan would have to explain this scenario, which only proves she was literally aware of Xana and Ethan being murdered. In her words, like I heard Xana running down the stairs and screaming. I was like so scared, and then I heard Ethan yelling, and like I heard fighting. I was so scared I didn't know what to do in that setting. Where does it say this stuff? At least she would get slight benefit of doubt of being scared, but she would at least admit to being aware of the attacks. But for this to be protected, it obviously proves protected. Obviously proves the attacks were from a group of individuals who Dylan wouldn't dare snitch on. So if Dylan heard someone say, quote, "There's someone here," with her door closed, wouldn't she also hear screaming? Of course she would, but Grant Hughes doesn't care about important points. No, we've talked about this, fool. We've talked about this 1,000 times. People don't always scream like you think they do. Okay? You seem like just a freaking dumbass person who only watches like cable, TV. Yay, look at that. Yay, they always scream. Look. Hey, you sit around and watch horror movies all day? My God. But you guys are having these massive lulls on tonight's show. So if you guys could please help support the channel and let us have a good end of the month, I would appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Pretend I'm a Starbucks coffee maker. But he didn't care about the important point about what Xana was going upstairs to check. Oh, she just missed that moment as she closed her door, I guess. What are you talking about? I think Xana went upstairs and quietly walked up the stairs. She's not going to sprint up there. She didn't know what was going on. She walked up the stairs and it was quiet. And when she was going up the stairs, that's when she said, "Is somebody here?" And then as she's going up the stairs, and that's when Dylan maybe looked out her door and looked around, didn't see anybody. So then shut her door, and then Xana goes back downstairs. I mean, it could have been also when she's in the kitchen, I mean, it doesn't really matter where she said it. There's Ted Bundy right there. He wants somebody to call and say hi to him. Oh man, you guys. Scared. I didn't know what to do. Where were we at here? Oh yeah. Close her door. I guess Xana didn't feel the need to knock on the door. Let's see. Wouldn't she also hear screaming? Of course she would. But Grant Hughes doesn't care about an important point. What about when Xana was going upstairs to check on... She just missed that moment as she closed her door? I guess Dylan, right? I guess Xana didn't feel the need to knock on her door to notify Dylan about upstairs. Okay, then when Xana gets back to her room and the lone killer is there, Dylan opens her door again to hear Xana crying and a male. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's how I have it. And a male state, quote, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Well, that's not when he would say that. He said it after that. But she didn't have the door open when Xana and Kohberger are running down the stairs. Oh, okay. How convenient if Xana heard noise upstairs, then it was significant enough to grab her attention. Right after all, she just trying to gobble her burgers. Right after all, she's just trying to gobble her burgers around this time. But, you know, the animation depicts a scenario where Xana noticed the sliding doors were open. Oh, okay. Nice way to build the narrative. Yet, yeah, see this. So let's say if Kohberger, when she picked up her DoorDash, right, she probably would have shut the door. So maybe when Kohberger entered the house, he left it open, and then she saw it. And then, even if not, maybe she shut the door earlier, and when she went to the kitchen to drop off the DoorDash, she realized, oh, look, it's open. Let's see. I've actually I was kind of glanced over here at the Oklahoma City versus Minnesota game. Not quite the blowout as the other one. It's probably going to be a 4-point lead with 8 seconds to go for Oklahoma City. I think they're going to win the whole thing. Yeah, well, when the trial's over, they're all going to be changing their mind. But what do I need to do tonight, you guys, to get this support going for the channel? You know, where my channel can get the same support that the troll nutjob channels get that looks like a casino in there when they're not doing anything of value or truthfulness, which I do. All right, so if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, I could sure use it. We're currently not even at 50% combining my previous show and this show. That Dylan would have heard the noise either before Xana did or at the same time, but what about the other scenario where Dylan assumed it was a party going on? Can we apply the same narrative to that? Does Grant Hughes even care about that conflicting account? Nope. If Dylan thought it was a party, then I guess Xana did as well, right? So
That's just one step
she wouldn't
below
feel
stupid.
the need. Hey, thanks, KB. Yeah, this whole thing. They need to go check upstairs because you know it's just Kay and Madison partying for a bit, okay? So the claim of Dylan being awakened by... hold on. Let's see. Awakened by what she thought was Kaylee upstairs playing with Murphy would be the alleged first sign of attack. Yet what about Madison? Wouldn't the scream first, then Kaylee, then you heard Murphy barking? And since Grant Hughes is so eager to represent the true crime community in the mainstream media, what does he think about Dateline, NBC, and Skeletor's literally making up a story about Kohberger breaking into his friend's home prior to the murders? How do you know that's made up? You don't know if that's made up. The person whose home was broken into thought that that's what happened. And Kohberger had access to that. The report of that source obtained information or evidence that Kohberger had broken into his friend's home, yet he was never, I repeat, never charged with the crime. Some would say, his friend dropped the charges. That was never mentioned in the episode. So, let's see. So she didn't drop any charges. Furthermore, she never called the cops. We remember this like it was yesterday. The friend had her apartment broken into. She notifies Kohberger about about it. He advises her to install a security system. He installs it. for her, and Skeletor claims that Kohberger was watching her inside the home through remote viewing. Then, as it was revealed that it was, let's see. It's revealed. Oh, man. I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Man, you guys are just massive lol city tonight. But he advises her to install a security system. He installs it for her, and Skeletor claims that Kohberger was watching. Skeletor is Keith Morris. That's what she keeps calling him. The Skeletor claims that Kohberger was watching her inside the home through remote viewing, and it was revealed that he was the one who had broken into her home prior, and he done it again after the security system was installed. Now the gray area in Skeletor's report is that there was no mention of authorities identifying Kohberger as the home invader, yet he was identified as the home invader. So who identified him? What we concluded was the female did have her home. Hold on. Oh, no. Did have her home broken into and sought advice from Kohberger, who was a friend. He advised her to install a security system. Now, this is what she told Dateline. Nothing more, nothing less. These literally changed that story and made Kohberger the home invader to justify the stalker narrative in his current charges. This is the same network. Yeah, well, I mean, but we've heard about this for a long time that he did this. This isn't some new thing that Dateline put in there. We're not even close. We're only at like 50%. We probably need 30 new channel memberships to get to the goal. That's including the previous show that I did too. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but any bit helps, you guys. You know. Yeah, thanks Ted Bundy for your
Glad you
coffees
saw
and that.
this. Well, glad you are debunking it.
Oh, it's just garbage. Why are you guys watching it, though? See, somebody told me about this, so I had to go check it out. But why are you guys watching it? You guys are, be a little bit more discerning. It's pretty scary, really. It's wild. Like, why are you watching these people? Like, even one of my mods was just watching this crazy, hey, and they were trying to comment on there and, like, to tell them the truth and everything. It's like, well, how did you get there in the first place? It's weird. I mean, would you just, anything that pops up, Kohberger, you go watch it? But, yeah, Tamran, we're way down. Anyways, a female didn't have her home broke into. Sought advice. Yeah, then story. Even with his slander, they never established that he was charged with home invasion, because that charge would have prevented him from so-called committing the crime he was arrested for. So they just left it in the air. I don't think they knew about it much back then. It was sort of after the fact. Blank left in the air as a blank claim against Kohberger without any criminal charges. Yes, this is the same network that Grant Hughes is foaming at the mouth, echoing. I've made this video is like, I'd say 30% of what they had in there. I put in there at the end because I thought it was pretty interesting. But the rest of it's just what I've always had. Let's see. The mouth echoing, "What do you expect, though? They are one and the same. Dylan would fear the same noise that made..." I don't even get what it's saying. "Blank claim against Kohberger without any criminal charges. Yes, this is the same network that Gray Hughes was foaming about. At the mouth echoing, 'What do you expect, though?' They're one of the same. Dylan would hear that same noise that made Xana go investigate." Right, but Xana's a different person than Dylan is. Like Xana was awake, walking around. She probably even thought Dylan was asleep, and Dylan is scared. She didn't want to see this stuff. Go investigate in this anyway, because Xana wouldn't go upstairs to check herself, especially to check herself. Xana wouldn't go upstairs to check by herself, especially if she noticed the sliding door open. You see, she would run back to her bedroom. But see how the people, they type these things in like everybody does stuff exactly like that? I would say it wouldn't even be 50%. You're in this house, there's parties there all the time. Yeah, sure, the sliding glass door is open. Maybe one of the friends came over to, and so you would just go upstairs. You're not going to go, hey, Ethan, wake up. It's crazy. Notice the sliding door open. You see, she would run back to the bedroom, wake Ethan up, and tell him something is in the home, or someone's in the home. Then you would have Ethan and Xana going to check which is more formidable to the alleged lone killer. So let me get this straight here. Dylan opened her door 3 times, right? The first time is when she heard what she assumed was Kaylee upstairs playing with Murphy, and the second time she heard was someone state, "There's someone here." Now this would apparently be Xana, yet who is she talking to? Wouldn't she knock on Dylan's door too? I think she said, "Is someone here?" Not, "There's someone here." I think she asked a question. But we don't know. Notify. Lone killer ran back downstairs and was crying. Notify her about it, I guess not. Then the third time she opened her door is after Xana had already been upstairs, saw the lone killer, ran back downstairs, and was crying in her bedroom. This snapshot is exactly where Dylan would be while hearing Xana crying in her bedroom, just crying, no screaming, no physical fighting going on. Xana fingers were almost severed as she frequently grabbed the knife from the alleged lone killer. Surely you would hear more than just crying, and I guess Ethan didn't make any noise either. Well, somehow Kohberger just walks into the room and slashes his throat while Xana, who was already aware of the alleged lone killer prior, just stood there and let it happen. See how these people, their brains just, they have this imaginary story. Like, I don't know exactly what the story is, but they have this imaginary thing that it has to be this certain way because this is how I've seen it in the horror movies that I watch. Walks into the room and slashes his throat while Xana, who was already aware of the alleged... I think she was attacked first in the room. As he caught up, he attacks her first. She goes down. And then he attacks Ethan. And then in my little story that I have, he goes to the bathroom, washes his hands, and all of a sudden there's Xana waking up. Yeah. I don't know why Pamran asked me that question earlier. Let's see. You stood there and let it happen. Are you effing kidding me? Let me break that down a bit more. Xana had already come in contact with the alleged lone killer. Upstairs, right, running back to a room as they suggested. Then the alleged Kohberger just walked right past Xana without... No, he attacked her first. Yelling, he walked right past her without yelling or screaming to Ethan and slashed his throat, I guess. This is when she starts crying. Oh, okay, this is really pathetic. The greatest form of damage control ever. Every female viewing the episode right now, think about... Let's see. Think about it. Your boyfriend is overspending a night. He's your protector. He's the love of your life. You hear noises upstairs and screaming. Your housemates are clearly being attacked. No, I don't think there was the sound upstairs. I don't think was... See, the thing is that the attack with Kaylee and Madison was probably more like you hear sounds like thuds and banging around, but I don't think there's no screaming or yelling. And you're going upstairs to check right then, and those possibly instincts may drive you to sneak upstairs, but even with this scenario, once you spot a masked man in your housemate's room, you then run away, right? Okay, so so far so good. Now what do you do next? You screamed your boyfriend. No, see, I think she went up and saw him, and then he saw her, and she kind of just walked away like she didn't really know what was going on, so she starts sort of jogging down the stairs, and then he comes after her and then runs to the room. And she's probably like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? You know, like that. But she's not yelling like, hey, Ethan. You know, that's just... I don't know. It just seems like there's a million ways to look at it instead of just saying, it had to have happened this way, and if you're a girl out there, you must know what I'm talking about. So once you spot a masked man in your housemate's room, you then want to run away, right? Okay, so far so good. You do next. You scream to your boyfriend to help. It's that simple. Oh, the fear, and we don't know how people behave when they're frightened. Cut the crap. If there's someone there to help you, then you're screaming out to them immediately. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's possible that she was about to when he caught up to her. Maybe he didn't really realize what she was doing, but it's just, you're just assuming that people will do something. Hey, can I ask you guys something? Why it's so like slow in here tonight? Like we have, it's been like, seems like 40 minutes since somebody supported the channel. And you guys know what we do here on a monthly basis. So can you guys explain, like what's going on? Like, is this just not as interesting as the troll channels who put out nonsense, so they get the more excitement? I'm just curious. I mean, what made today and yesterday different than 2 days before that and the whole rest of the month? I don't think Madison was awake, and I don't think Ethan was ever awake. Maybe he woke at the end just for a second. Hello? Do you guys know why it's like this? I mean, it's just crazy. Yeah. Man, it's really stressful. Thanks, Curly Lock Diva. We're currently at about 55% of the goal, combining the previous show and this show together. let's see, level compared to the petite victims. They're frightening. Cut the crap. If there's someone there to help you, then you're screaming out to them immediately, especially if your boyfriend. Now, since we know Xana would have screamed out to Ethan, then this means Ethan has been awakened. The alleged Kohberger now has a big male in the home to deal with, which definitely changes his confidence. That's why he hit his artery first and then his leg so he couldn't move. Confidence level compared to the petite victims upstairs in the report claims that Xana was murdered before Ethan. Then it is depicted a scenario where Xana didn't have a chance to notify Ethan about the danger. Well, of course, they have Ethan basically murdered in his sleep. You see, this means that Xana was so frightened that she couldn't scream out Ethan's name, yet at the same time, she obviously put up a fight due to her defensive wounds. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Curly Lock Diva, twice there. Thank you. Appreciate that. I noticed I didn't get any answers up above about, like, what's the difference. Let's see. This frightened that she couldn't scream out Ethan's name, yet at the same time, she obviously put up a fight due to her defensive wounds. So she had defensive wounds, then her instincts to survive were through the roof. And going back to the point, instinctively, Xana would scream out to her protector, being Ethan, but Ethan would have been awakened by the same. But nobody knows anything about Ethan, like how much he drank, if he's a deep sleeper, or how any of that works. You know, especially when you've been drinking a lot. You know, somebody starts yelling, you know, hell, you don't even hear it. I mean, he may have passed out almost, right? Like, we don't have any idea. So this person is just, you know, and maybe he, obviously, like Dylan didn't hear Xana yell out to Ethan, okay? So whether you think people do certain things or not, it's irrelevant, okay? I don't know what you're talking about, Kizkazi. Let's see. Ugh, jeez. I keep blowing my nose. Well, you weren't one of them, though, Kizkazi. I can tell you that. Let's see. The point, instinctively, Xana would scream out to her protector, being Ethan, but Ethan would have been awakened by the same, get this, the same screaming and yelling, Murphy, barking, banging noises, all of what Dylan heard, which was claimed to be just, yeah, but here's the thing. See, again, this person is clueless. Like, Xana's room and where Ethan are not directly below, and they wouldn't hear the same sounds. It'd be much more muted, and it just probably didn't mean anything to him at all. Dylan is right below Madison's room and can hear it. Sorry, I gotta blow my nose. Yeah, maybe you are Kizkazi, yeah. Let's see. First time on your channel, you got a free membership. Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, Justin, which you're not aware of because you're an absolute dipshit, my channel donates thousands of dollars every month. So I try to bring in the funds. And yes, it does get frustrating when it's a shitty night, because everybody that watches knows what we do.
Let's go.
Okay, so idiots like you who get free memberships, you weren't even you came on this channel from the troll channel to get a free membership, and you stole it from somebody else who couldn't afford it that needed one, okay? That's the only reason that you have a membership, is because you came here and stole a membership from somebody else, okay? So go F yourself, okay? You're an absolute lunatic. My God, that's exactly the person I was telling you about. There's these group of trolls out there that come over and they make themselves available for memberships, so knowing that none of them will ever re-sign up again. And they steal it from people who can't afford it and want one. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, hey, Michael, they were killed inside the house, okay? We don't allow lunatic fringe comments here. I mean, what a ridiculous comment. They were killed somewhere else and then brought back to the house? You don't think they would have seen the blood spatter information that would have shown that? Okay. You know, these cops, the FBI, and everybody that was there, they're not lunatics. People are stupid. Thanks, Kami, Timothy Cecil, and Ann Taylor's fan club. Yeah. God, you guys are stupid. I mean, when I'm saying you guys, I mean the people who say these kind of comments. Somebody upstairs says, they were not killed inside the house, in my opinion. Right. So they were killed somewhere else, and then they were brought back to the house and moved up to all the bedrooms that they're found in, and they moved them up there inside of plastic bags, okay? And then they spread them out where they're supposed to go, and then whoever was there put their hands in blood and smeared it around on the walls to make it look like arterial spatter and all that stuff. Wow, you guys are geniuses. Yay, pro burgers. What a bunch of... But anyways, thanks, Kami, Timothy, Cecil, and Taylor's fan club. I mean, can you just see how stupid that comment is up there? There's people that say that over and over again in different places. Yeah, it's not all of them. Like, people give memberships, and a lot of the people that get them are people who wanted one, but some are just the trolls, you know? That's what they do. I've seen it. Yeah. Gotta take another one of these cough drops. Get this, the same screaming and yelling, Murphy barking, banging noises, all of what Dylan heard, which was claimed to be just Kaylee upstairs playing with Murphy. From the alleged Kohberger perspective, you have Dylan, Xana, and Ethan all aware of the attacks. No, you're a lunatic. Against Madison, and Kaylee Murphy is upstairs growling and barking. That's not insignificant, and you can also add Bethany as well coming downstairs. Do you honestly think the alleged Kohberger would just slip out the sliding door unscathed? Ah, yes, without any screaming, he could. And that's what Dylan's affidavit does not mention hearing screams. The report about the security camera didn't detect screams. Right, because there wasn't any. People don't always scream. Put a 1 if you think women always scream. And by the way, there's only 2 people that had an opportunity to maybe scream, and that would be Kaylee, and Xana. That's it. But I can see Kaylee's going, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then just immediately getting into a fight and not screaming. It's just, she didn't scream. Okay? And then Xana, she doesn't scream. She doesn't seem like a screamer, to be honest. If you look at her, just the way she is, she seems kind of like a little tougher. But even then, even if you're not tough, you don't scream every single time. It's just bizarre. This is what they think. This is what it should have sounded like. Yeah, okay. Hey, I heard it. Look. Let's see. Affidavit does not mention hearing screams. The report about the security camera didn't detect screaming, yet it detected whimpering sounds. The dog, I didn't even, when I heard that audio, it didn't sound like whimpering sound. It sounded like people almost arguing or fighting. And loud thud, yet no screaming, yet just more damage, because if it was reported screaming was heard, that would be exculpatory evidence. Why? Wouldn't you just say, oh, Dylan must not have heard it, or remembered hearing it? Or yes, so they made sure to keep that out of her so-called accounts. Why would screaming be exculpatory? Can anybody explain that? What makes screaming exculpatory? But Gray. And by the way, I am here. Just I keep having to blow my nose, so figured I wouldn't keep my face on there. So-called accounts, because that screaming would span throughout the home like an alarm to everyone, and it just brings back the scenario. Oh, I see. You're saying, so if there was screaming, it would have alerted everybody. So you got to remove that so he can quietly sneak. You guys are so stupid. I'm not sure what that means, Warren. Can you type a better sentence than that? So-called accounts, because that screaming would span throughout the home like an alarm to everyone, and it just brings back the scenario we broke down, and we broke down early in our investigation. This is insanity. And Keith Morrison and Gray Hughes, to literally push this narrative, shows that they think the public is stupid. Gray Hughes doesn't care about this case. It's just another high-profile case he can present his animations for. But how pathetic, because if you actually listen to him trying to explain the various scenario of his animations, he's stuttering and fumbling around, trying to rationalize certain points. Xana's DoorDash arrives at 4 a.m. Well, it's 3:59, but I actually think it's 3:59 and 40 something seconds. And she's in the kitchen. Apparently, Ethan is asleep. Kohberger's already near the sliding doors. See, this is how dumb this person is. Kohberger's car didn't park until 4:08. The kitchen, apparently Ethan is asleep. Kohberger is already near the sliding glass doors. Camouflage with the darkness away from the porch light. He waits till she goes back to her room and starts to come inside. No, that's total. See, this person here is not aware that Kohberger actually parked his car at 4:08. If Xana went to go get her food in the kitchen, he's not even there at that point. He's driving around. He's not there. He's on Taylor Avenue at that point. Inside, but Xana wakes Ethan up for the meal. Now, how did we know that the meal was for both of them? Maybe he was asleep and she just wanted something to eat. As Anna wakes Ethan up for the meal, they both come back to the kitchen. They both come back to the kitchen. Where are you getting this from? To the kitchen and catch him creeping inside. Bam! He has to deal with two individuals he didn't intend on dealing with based on the narrative. Madison was the target. Why put yourself in such an unpredictable scenario? Brian, you could have possibly been killed right there in the kitchen. No, look, he would have came in and went, oh, shit, hey, guys, see you later. This is from a video about me. I'm not telling you where to watch it. I mean, why would you want to go watch it? All right, where are we at right now for the day? We are currently $70 short of reaching the daily goal. All right. So, well, now we're only 60. I know, it's crazy, right, M10? I know, they talk about me in there.
Mad even hearing this crap and bringing you into their nonsense. I can't deal.
Yeah, they talk about me all the time. There's all these little really shitty low level channels that they get a lot of views because somehow they only have like 2 to 7,000 subs or something, but they get like 12,000 views. That's why it's so frustrating when I have 150,000 and I make a video and sometimes they get 10,000 views because I don't make these sensationalistic videos. You know, this is, I mean, you could call making an animation sensationalistic, but I don't really look at it like that. It's just, it's a representation of what may have happened. It just kind of shows like how quickly something could have happened, etc. You know, it's not an absolute fact. I think like this. I think that's pretty creepy right there. That shot right there. Look at that. Like he's coming after. Put yourself in such an unpredictable scenario, Brian. You could have possibly been killed right there in the kitchen. Ethan, a big boy, especially protecting his girlfriend. That manly strength would be activated. Remember, Hunter went to grab a kitchen knife. Surely those housemates were not strangers to them. Well, of course, we've seen photos of them wielding knives and machetes. Jeez. Not the Photoshop one with Dylan, but the other photos. Ethan grabs a knife to protect Xana. And well, Kohberger could have been killed right in that kitchen. But he wouldn't have gone in. See, it's so stupid. If Ethan was in the kitchen with Xana, he's not coming in right at that moment. Because Ethan would be standing up and able to fight. He went into that room and he saw Ethan there and he immediately hit an artery. And then I think he carved his legs relatively quickly after that to keep him from being able to, move around or ambulate, as they say. Protect Xana, and well, Kohberger could have been killed right there. Targeting one of those girls would be more calculated, more patient. It was, though. He did. He knew that there was nobody back there. He was watching the kitchen. This person is, it was a little bit risky once he saw the DoorDash delivery, but that's in the front of the house, and he thought, well, I know he knows. I don't know if he's ever been in the house, but he very likely could have, in one of those late nights, just kind of snuck in there and kind of got a little bit of a layout. Targeting one of those girls would be more calculated, more patient, more strategic in how they would go about their plan and their attack, not run into the home head first. It's potentially a suicide mission. That's so stupid. Like these kids would just kill him. He's in there. Oh, they're going to grab a knife and kill him. Predominantly females in the home because even one female could simply grab a knife from the kitchen while Kohberger's attacking someone and come behind him and stab him in the back. Nobody, who would do that, you know? It's just... Although there may have been a fatality or housemates that were severely injured, police would arrive with a dead Kohberger in the home as the housemates killed him in self-defense. But, you know, let Skeletor and Grant Hughes tell it. He was slicker than WD-40, Gray. Hughes tries to rationalize the scenario where a male voice was heard stating, "It's okay." It's actually, "It's okay. I am going to help you." Claims that Kohberger was trying to keep Xana quiet, trying to convince her that he isn't a threat. Now, we want everyone to listen very closely to this individual because this is what he is suggesting. Please pay close attention. There's someone here, and that was just Dylan, who heard that voice from the kitchen. And then she goes upstairs and likely looked into the room, and probably an open door, and Kohberger saw her, and that's when she started chasing her. Yeah, so in the comments section, let me know what you're thinking and what your what the timing was of you. No, it's okay. I'm going to help that. This person can barely speak. I'm just letting you know. I'm here to help that comment, you know, something like that the person said, I mean, he chases her down the stairs, and then when would he have said that comment? Now, if you're following so far, Grant Hughes is not speculating that there was screaming. Right, because there wasn't any. Nor did anyone hear screaming. There was no screaming prior with Madison and Kaylee. Murphy wasn't barking, in which dogs detect intruders or treats immediately, and somehow Xana wasn't screaming. See, they're trying to pretend that Kohberger wasn't even there, that somebody inside the house did the killing because of... that's what I think. That's where I think they're going here. Screaming, running away from Kohberger. It's like Kohberger passed a mute button on the entire home. Nonsense. Yeah, maybe after he attacked Xana, he was maybe... She didn't quite die right away. Yep, I heard it. Maybe he attacked Xana, and she was... That's right, screaming. He caught himself because... what do you mean I caught myself? I never said that. Because he naturally being attacked would cause screaming or yelling. But of course, this destroys the entire scenario he painted. Screaming would alarm Ethan, and this is before Xana was murdered. No, I said attack. She didn't quite die. Like when he first follows her in. Let me show you right here. Watch. So there's Xana going into her room. Dylan's now, she's hearing, Xana's probably like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know. And she opens her door. And then now there's like, you know, Kohberger and Xana are sort of in a quick little fight kind of thing. Like he caught up with her, you know. And then he stabs her, and then she goes to the ground, and he thinks he's killed her, right? So at this point, he looks over, and there's Ethan there. You know, probably completely sloshed, out cold. He cuts an artery. Now then he cut his legs there. And then based on what they said, you know, they said he sat down in a chair. I don't know when that was, but this is where I'm putting it. He sits down in a chair. They said maybe he was tired. I don't know. But apparently he does sit in a chair. And then maybe right here he goes into the bathroom. This is a scenario that I thought of a while ago. Or I don't know if somebody else said that. I mean, there's so many different thoughts that come into your head. Somebody else might have said it. So then he goes into the bathroom.
Zany face emoji.
Thank you. And like right there, he's washing his hands in there. And then look at Xana's getting up. He didn't realize that was going to happen. But he hears that. So then he comes out, and then there she is getting up, and he's like, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." And she's totally out of it, like completely, what do you call it? Like in shock. You know, and it's too hard to like animate every single thing, you know. But then he attacks her again, and then she falls face first with the feet towards the door. And I probably have to fix that last one. But, and then right here, she opens her door, and there he goes. It was like this. And see, watch this. Boom, there's his bushy eyebrows. Right there. Yeah. And so I don't know, you know, like obviously I don't know the exact scenario. I'm throwing in some of the stuff that Dateline had because obviously they broke the gag order. Somebody did. And it was obviously then the stuff that was in the special is part of reality, okay? Oh, nice. There's only 2 left out there now? Cool, Timothy.
3 more of the inmates were arrested this weekend. 2 of them were in Texas.
Awesome. I mean, what do you guys think of what I have so far? I mean, this is it. I might make another scenario later, like if, you know, at the trial they say something, I think I could probably bust something out and change it up a little bit or something. It's just, you know, who knows what happened? That's the whole thing. It's just you know, it's not, doesn't even, like the stuff that went on in the room and everything never was in part of my theories before. But it made it so, okay, now I can make that part because at least I have an answer. Like I've thought, you know, so let's see what he says. It's okay, I'm here to help you. Yeah, we've never actually been able to. I've always thought that Xana had been, I'm going to help you. It's okay, I'm going to help you. I always thought that Xana was attacked first. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying the entire sequencing. I'm just saying she was attacked first and then lived. Because that's why you'd say, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Because you don't say that to somebody who's never been attacked nor had observed anybody being attacked. You wouldn't say that. You would only say that to somebody who's injured already, and maybe you're trying to get them to calm down a little bit. Yeah. Oh, it's not. Those aren't really. That's just all the stuff that was added. This video's 3 minutes and 30 seconds now. But tomorrow I'm going to do where I'm going to put it out where it shows all this part again. Because I think it's always good to... I made it so it was just the video time. And then it's like, you know, the car parks, lights are off, and then he goes in and he does all this stuff. You know. Should be pretty interesting. I think people would like it. All I know is these people are going to look so dumb when the trial happens. They keep thinking we're the ones that are going to... But it's going to be a blowout. That's right. Screaming, he caught himself because he naturally... Caught him. I think I remember I did say something sort of similar to that. Like maybe she's yelling or something. I heard maybe attack Xana, and she didn't quite die right away. And what I meant to say was that she's whimpering, saying, hey, you know, something like that. Of course, this destroys the entire scenario he painted. Screaming would alarm Ethan. And, well, but I didn't say that, though, right? This is before Xana was murdered. So, of course, the alleged Kohberger, and by the way, no, not my case. I think she was attacked first. Then he attacked Ethan, then he attacked Xana again. Of course, this destroys the entire scenario he painted. Screaming would alarm Ethan, and this is before Xana was murdered. So, of course, the alleged Kohberger would be attacking a screaming Xana. Ethan wakes up Kohberger, panics, and tells them both, "Hey guys, it's okay. I'm here to harm you. I'm not here to harm you. I'm here to help." Ridiculous. Let's listen. Who said that? Ridiculous. Let's listen to that. Swift stuttering slip up again. Yeah, maybe after he attacked Xana, he was Xana, and she didn't quite die right away. You can't rationalize that setting. It's impossible. And that's just on the second floor. What about with Madison and Kaylee screaming occurred there first based on the reported order of death? Well, there's no screaming up there. Why do you keep saying that? So the alleged Kohberger would be tussing with Madison and Kaylee. Murphy barking his lungs out, and this causes panic. You would panic because there were more than... I think Murphy didn't start barking until the end. At like right around 4:18, he's barking, and that's when Kohberger leaves. And I think he spent 2 minutes at his car doing the blood spatter mitigation. Let's see. Murphy barking his lungs out. This causes panic. You would panic because there's more than one person in the home. Like mentioned prior, Madison was the target, and she stayed by herself in an apartment. So I think he killed Madison and then Kaylee and thought he was home free. But he wasn't. Xana had heard something. And maybe, that's why he ended up... I think what law enforcement is saying is they believe Madison Mogen was the sole target. Why did he attack Xana? The reason he attacked Xana is because Xana presented herself as a witness at some point. And that's just kind of how their theory developed. And it probably makes sense given the information that's out there, right? So doesn't that make sense? All right, we're still about 11 memberships short of reaching the goal tonight. And that's including my earlier show. And when it gets quiet like that, I'm blowing my nose. Ugh. Anything, he wouldn't panic about anything whatsoever while in the home because he knows she stays by herself. But then again, if someone knocked on the door, Kohberger would panic because his entire focus was on attacking his target. Who was alone. The same concept applies in a home full of college students. He somehow sneaks upstairs. Madison is attacked, starts screaming. Kaylee waves up, starts screaming, and they are fighting back. Murphy is barking. Kohberger has just activated the fire alarm. She's going through like a scenario. The fire alarm sets in, and now he has more focus on trying to get out of the home than continuing his attack on Madison. There's a high probability that he would be caught. No, not really. Here's the thing, everybody. If Madison Mogen was by herself in that room, he likely would have absolutely just got out unless he randomly had passed Xana somehow when she went to see him in the kitchen. But then I think he just would have killed Xana and took off out that back sliding glass door. The only reason is because, Kaylee woke up and then there was a little bit battle going on. And it just so happens there was a lot of noise going on up there, or, you know, some sounds, thudding and whatnot, when Xana went to the kitchen. And she heard something and then went up to investigate it. And then the only reason Ethan is dead is because he was there. Like, he... The thing is Kaylee and Ethan are people that should not have been there. They just happened to be there. Kohberger had planned on it just being Madison Mogan in that bedroom. He couldn't, on those little passes he made, he can't tell, like on those little passes he made, because when he started driving by there, Kaylee and Madison were already kind of laying around on the bed. I think they actually went to sleep earlier, like at 3:30 or so, maybe 3:15.
This was truly a horror story in real life. Great job,
Yeah.
Gray.
Thank you, Elizabeth Brown. Yeah. I just try to use common sense. These people out here they do not use that or utilize it. Therefore, it's the likelihood of them ever being correct in a crime is almost zero. Like, it's just, but it's weird how their viewers reward them over and over and over again, even though they're just lunatics. Okay? Hey, thanks, Curly Lock Diva again. Let's see. It was Missy received a membership. Welcome. Yep, no matter what, you guys, all you women out there, no matter what's scary, you always go like this. Never are you ever quiet. Oh my God, look at that. Yeah. Yeah, we've had that on my channel for a long time. It matches the... I don't have that lady anymore, right? Yeah, there it is. This one right here. That picture right there. That's the one that we'd always go. See that screaming lady right there? Yeah. Yeah. Gray, I can't believe it. He was making fun of screaming ladies. Sorry, I gotta blow my nose again. I almost feel like you're kind of like sexist or something when you claim that women scream every single time there's something. You know, it's ridiculous. I think I need another Vicks candy. It seems to clear your nose out a little bit. All right. Need about another, what did I say earlier? 6 more memberships? See if you guys can do that as a group. Continue to attack Madison. There's a high probability that he would be caught and even, quote, subdued or even killed. So much for a calculated serial killer, and calculated serial killer would patiently track his victim until they're at their most vulnerable, not in a home full of college students, deemed to be a party house. That's the worst setting to attempt. Well, but he was obsessed with that one person, though. Attempt a one-kill mission, and then what about neighbors? See, why do you keep saying, what if this and what if... You know, who knows? I mean, every time there's a killer, this could happen. You know? What if, what about their neighbor? What if a neighbor was called and before you know it, a group of Sigma Kai jocks come to challenge him. Yeah, what if aliens, you missed that part. Now, what if aliens were actually flying over the house at the time? How do we know that they couldn't have beamed him up? Hey, thanks, M10. Let's see. 7, 6. Yeah, we're about 7. Yeah, like $35 short of reaching the goal, and then I'll donate 5 myself. Yeah, what if aliens dropped down and dropped Brian? Right. How do we know that didn't happen? Unpredictable. It says, come to challenge him. These are the unpredictable scenarios that would possibly occur, but I guess he was so obsessed with Madison, he had tunnel vision. Yeah. And just ignored all the high risk. I think he drove around and he just wanted to get in there. And it looked good to him. It was dark still. He knew that his victim was asleep. So he calculated that, the person he was going after. So he calculated that he could just go back through the slider, up the stairs, quietly, and kill her. And I think he was going to leave the knife sheath as a calling card. The K-Bar Killer. Unpredictable scenarios that would possibly occur, but I guess he was so obsessed with Madison, he had tunnel vision and just ignored all the high risk the home presented. For all these so-called true crime investigators, they sure seem ignorant to the psychological element of a criminal. Well, of course, they're not true crime investigators. We may be radical and on the outskirts of the true crime community. That is for damn sure. Yeah, there's a good reason you're on the outskirts, is because you are ludicrous, okay? But we always present genuine content. Grant Hughes claims, Kohberger, genuine content? You put nothing but ingenuine content out on a daily basis. That's what your whole shtick is. I mean, I could make so many more videos if I was like them, man. I could make videos where, my God, I could have, again, like aliens coming down. They crawl through the house. They're the actual killers, but they flew over to Kohberger's house. They took his knife sheath out, placed it there, and then they used their little lasers to create wounds that looked like a K-bar sheath. They just wanted to pin it on Kohberger to see how that would work. Thanks, Suburban Trap Queen. Are you a trap shooter?
Thanks for all you do.
Is that what you're
generous.
Is that what you're a queen at? Trap shooting? That's pretty cool. I can't tell. Let me see if you're shooting in the picture. Nope. Or maybe it's trap something else. I don't know. Maybe she traps animals or. Oh, no. Okay. Man, my nose. I feel better just right now because of these lozenges. But my nose is just whacked out right this second, man. Let's see. Maybe radical and one of the outskirts of the true crime community, but we always present genuine content. I don't know if they said gay or gray, but it says Gay Hughes claims Cobra. I get that one all the time. Gray pubes, etc. Claims Kohberger attacked Xana without screams or yells. She apparently is don't know what the hell is going on. Claims Kohberger attacked Xana without screams or yells. She apparently is don't know what the hell is going on. Let's hear the rest of the madness. And then he attacked Ethan, and almost immediately, like he was asleep. And after he attacked Xana and thought that she was dead, he attacked Ethan with, I guess he hit an artery of Ethan, and then perhaps at that point, this might be like my actual voice. I don't know if they're playing it. At that point, Xana is still sort of trying to get up, and he is like, "Hey, no, it's okay. I'm here to help." And then he attacks her a second time, and that's when she hits the ground, and there's a thud sound. Oh my. So Kohberger attacks her. She tries to get up and being attacked, and Kohberger then tells her, "Oh, never mind that I just stabbed you. I'm actually trying..." No, but see, I don't have it like that. I have him leaving, and she's totally in shock and just trying to get up. And he says, I'm not even sure she ever stood up again, like I have in my video. She might have just tried to get up and was still on all fours, but I don't know. And that might not even be what happened at all. Yeah, it's... time, and then when she hits the ground, there's a thud sound. Ground or whatever. Kohberger assumes she's dead or dying. She then tries to get back up, and Kohberger comes back to her, and the way Hughes depicted it, as if Kohberger was literally trying to help. He didn't say it in the way a serial killer would say a thing, which would be demented, as he toys with his victim. Negative, he says it in a way that he is offering no, I didn't. I never said he was offering genuine help. I said he was trying to trick her into thinking he was there to help. God, these people are just... Whew. Yep, well, that's right, Lanky Tor. It's hard to do, though, when, you struggle through a month. It's hard to help any of the victims. Let's see. Victim's negative. She says it is a way that he's offering genuine help now. How much sense does that make? I've never said that. That's a total lie. At that point, Xana is still sort of trying to get up, and he's like, "Hey, no, it's okay. I'm here to help you." And then attacks her a second time. And that's when she hits the ground, and there's like a thud sound. The way he stated it, very nonchalant, and this is because Grant Hughes is nonchalant about the case. Jeez. He doesn't actually care about the investigating. He only cares about executing damage, yet he's running into a brick wall here, but because he cannot rationalize anything in his animation, nor the bogus claims from Skeletor and Dateline. Xana would have been screaming. Now, see, you're saying would have been as if that's a 100% fact that Xana had to have been screaming, therefore. Oh, cool, LB. Yeah. All right, guys, we need 7 more channel memberships or any combination to get to the goal tonight. Then I'll donate 5 memberships myself. Can we do that as a group? So it sucks not reaching the goal when you're getting so close to the end of the month. Let's see. The attack alone, screaming, running back to her room. Ethan would have awakened, and Kohberger would have just ran out of the home before things got too risky. Mind you, he already so-called completed his mission, right? Yeah, but now there's a witness, though. And he didn't want anyone to witness it. Oh, and he didn't want Xana to run away and potentially call the cops. Oops. He wouldn't care about any of that, right? He was so obsessed that he entered a home full of college students. Right, but he had to improvise because he thought he was just going to go into the house and kill Madison Mogen easily. And he would have if he would have absolutely got out of there. If he only killed if it was only Madison Mogen in that room and he killed her and then he walked And then he didn't leave the knife sheath. I don't think you'd even have an arrest currently. The Elantra would have eventually put him on the radar, and maybe other things would have started pointing. But that'd be a pretty tough one at that point. Because there wouldn't even be a Xana scenario. I mean, a Dylan. Dylan would have gone to sleep because it would have been quiet up there. Wouldn't care about any of that, right? He was so obsessed that he entered a home full of college students, which all of those possibilities existed. So why would he be so concerned about Xana running away, which obviously would lead to an alarm? We only have 10 gifted memberships tonight. We've been doing like 30. Alarm when that came, concern would exist, would lead to an alarm. Why do you keep bringing up alarm? Well, the same concern would exist before he even entered the home. You know what? Let's continue. Let's continue. And then maybe he carves Ethan's legs at this point, and then heads out, through the living room, and then passes Dylan. Carves Ethan's legs. Now, why in the hell would he, the alleged Kohberger, make the effort to carve Ethan's legs when apparently he had already slashed his throat? Well, he might have wanted to make sure that he couldn't move even if somehow he woke up again. Was asleep. Do you hear what the F you're saying? Yep, DC agents will try to make sense of the senseless. Oh, let me guess. He slashed arteries in Ethan's legs to prevent him from running away. No, not arteries. Oh, okay, that makes sense. What is he afraid Ethan would be, the Walking Dead? No, he just, or maybe he cut his legs for a different reason. I mean, nobody has the answer to that question. And we don't even know what carved means, so we're just sort of having to improvise here. Even Dateline didn't know exactly what that meant. Yep. 7 channel memberships away, you guys. Then I'll gift 5. Ethan would be the Walking Dead because he had already murdered him in his sleep, mind you. Legs and then heads out. Let's see. Kohberger carved Ethan's legs and heads out, and then maybe he carves Ethan's legs at this point and then heads out, through the living room, which means after slashing Ethan's throat and even stabbing him multiple times before heading out of Xana's room, Kohberger then decides, well, he may survive the attack, but I'm going to carve his legs so he can't run after me. No, he could see that he was bleeding out. He just didn't want him to be able to move around. I'm done. This is a prime example of someone who is being exposed for not genuinely investigating this case. I guarantee you I know the case 1,000 times better than this person. And his attempt at a theory as to the setting in the home during the attacks and murders clearly proves that sounds so lost and confused, yet has been covering this case since it began. The reason he's a DC agent, hey, you guys, I'm a DC agent. Come on, send me the super chats now, you guys. I'm a DC agent. Come on, you guys, let's get to that goal. I'm a DC agent, and when it's time to actually explain things about the case, you're investigating instead of just pushing a narrative about Kohberger. He sounds so stupid. He never investigated. He only focused on making sure his audience was convinced. Wouldn't I have a bigger audience? I mean, wouldn't the DC agents sort of make sure that YouTube sort of pushed my channel along? Yeah. He sounds so stupid. He never investigated. He only focused on making sure his audience was convinced. That's what you're doing. I actually used the facts of the case. Kohberger was the killer. Nothing else matters. But that comment someone left about the statement, it's okay, I'm going to, it's okay, it's okay, I'm going to help you, really showed how deceptive Grant Hughes is. You can rationalize that statement, aligning it with the alleged Kohberger, especially in the narrative that Xana had previously ran away from him, and then to claim he attacked her. And I've said since the beginning that I think that Xana was attacked once, and then when he saw that she was alive, when he came back to her and said, "Hey, it's okay, I'm going to help you," and just to pretend he was somebody else to keep her calm. I've said that since the beginning. It's not like a new statement. It actually makes more sense than anything that this idiot keeps bringing up. I haven't heard one thought that this person has that make me go, that's interesting. Not one. You guys, we're still 7 memberships short of the goal tonight. Can we please try to reach the goal so I can also donate the 5 memberships? That'll be 12 total. And it doesn't even have to be memberships, just a combination. Let's see. With the alleged Kohberger, especially in the narrative that Xana had previously ran away from him, and then to claim he attacked her, and then tells her he's going to help her, that she's supposed to think he's going to pick her up from the floor and actually help. Xana would turn the other cheek after being stabbed by him. Okay then. He puts her in his vehicle and gets medical attention for the stab wounds he created. I don't even know what that means.
A DC agent, smiley face emoji, US
That's right, I'm a DC agent, man. Would be screaming. Ethan would wake awake, and Kohberger would have possibly been killed or definitely suffered some injuries. This is the same person who executed the same damage in the Kanika Jenkins. Look at that. This is the same person who executed the same damage in the Kanika Jenkins case. It's a carbon copy. Yes, you guys. That's hilarious. I didn't know she put that in there. So again, I'm just fed. I'm this person that was hired by, sort of federal agencies to spread a narrative. This is the same person who executed the same damage in the Kanika Jenkins case. People in the comments said, "What are you talking about? He nailed that one." He so-called investigated. Only in that case, he basically claimed that she was walked into a freezer and froze to death. Right, that is what she did. She went in there alone and froze to death.
Welcome to the DC Agent Club. Your pass key is in the mail.
Oh, thank you.
What we've done to the lodge. We have a Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts now.
Hey, cool. All right. You inside the building? All right. Yeah, give me a tour when I get there next time, Mark. Do they still make those good drinks? Those Mai Tais? Did you hear, Gray? He was actually talking to a guy named Mark Ferris. He must be a DC agent, too. All right, 5 more channel memberships. That'll do it. Have to get the information from guess who, Dylan, but our affidavit doesn't mention it. Let's see. We've stated this time and time again. Oh yeah, Kanika Jenkins. He so-called investigated. Only in that case, he basically... You know what I got? I purchased all of this surveillance footage, and it became obvious that she walked into that freezer all by herself and died. That's exactly what happened. Of course, these people will pretend that, they can see these things in the background. I've seen it. we've stated this time and time again. The closer the truth gets, the more absurd these DC agents get also. See, isn't it just, right now, don't you realize that this person is not credible at all? Because they're literally convinced that I'm a, quote, DC agent. Including Skeletor and Dateline NBC, they're the one who has reported this from a so-called source, but the source would have to get the information from, guess who, Dylan, but her affidavit doesn't mention it, so it's actually made up. Again, here we go, where Xana is a key factor in the home. It's because she was still alive, as we believe, and because she was still alive, they have to hear me out, because Xana was still alive. They have to create activity for her. Covering up the time frame, she was still alive after the murders. Even Grant Hughes stated she was still alive after the first attack. You see, they're snitching and don't realize. What are you talking about? I'm snitching on what? Hey, thanks,
You're
Marcy.
best at Grant Hughes Investigates. I, red heart emoji, your insight.
You love my insight? Oh, cool. Thank you. And trust me, when trial comes around, you're going to realize that I've been telling you the truth the entire time. Of course what you say is going to match what they say, Gray. It's all a lie. It's one big cover-up. You got it. Oh, boy. Here we go. All right, guys. 3 more memberships, or $15, will get me to also gift 5 memberships. How do you think of that? First attack, you see, they're snitching, and they don't realize it's everything. It's centered around the real surviving housemates, which was Xana. Now we came to this conclusion based on the whispering during that call. She won't cave. Oh, God. Oh, God. She won't cave. That's what they're... Hey, don't cave. Don't cave. And we use Grant Hughes as a supporting element in which he states Xana was still alive. Perhaps at that point... I'm just meaning she was still alive where he attacks her, and in the same moment, like moments later, she wakes up but she's in shock. But he comes from a different angle and says, hey, it's okay. I'm going to help you. Was still alive, perhaps. At that point, is still trying to get up. Here, hold on a second. Yeah. Thanks, Rebel Red, for the coffee. It's a Valenzuela. And then Ted Bundy with 4 coffees. We need Timothy Cecil to be trying to get me my 3 coffees, or 3. We just need, all we need is $15 total between all the people to get to the goal. That's it, right there. She won't cave, and we use Grant Hughes as a supporting element in which he states Xana was still alive, perhaps at the point is still trying to get up. I'm here to help, and then he attacks her a second, and that's when hits the ground. And like the reason Grant Hughes is forced to create the setting of Xana still being alive after the attack, is because this is already known by the conspirators. See, this has insider information. I've been saying that she was alive after the first attack since the very beginning. You guys remember that? It's even in my video that I made where I thought that Xana and Ethan were attacked first in the house. That's why he executing damage. You either willing to expose the truth as an insider or protect it as an insider. And this is definitely protecting the truth. Dylan obviously knew Xana was still alive. What? The so-called source was told this by Dylan. Law enforcement knew, the mainstream media knew, the prosecution knew, and of course individuals who are snooping around also know it's okay. I'm going to help you is not Kohberger. It doesn't even make sense. You think it's Ethan? He's going to say, you know what doesn't make sense is for a boyfriend to say to a girlfriend, it's okay, I'm going to help you. That's just, it's so robotic. It's like nobody would say that. That's somebody who's thinking, what should I say? For him to tell Xana this after stabbing her, but someone who is talking to Dylan about trying to cover up the murders, oh yeah, they definitely would make that statement. What? Simply taking that statement, detaching. What? Somebody told Dylan, hey, I'm helping you cover up. I'm here to help you. And then Dylan repeats it to the cops? That's so dumb. Oh my God. For him to tell Xana this after stabbing her, but someone who is talking to Dylan about trying to cover up the murders, oh yeah, they definitely would make the statement, they simply taking that statement, detaching it from one of the conspirators and attaching it to Kohberger. Right, but why is Dylan saying it? See, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So one of the conspirators actually said, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Right? But somehow Dylan tells the cops that anyways, because I think she's implying that Dylan is part of this whole thing. They need more WD-40. Let's just wrap this nonsense up by her door. She opens it up again and doesn't see her, and then it exits, so a lot of people say, well, he must have been in a big hurry. But what they don't realize is that it's about 4:18. He doesn't drive away at a high... I think this is me talking right here. 4:18. He doesn't drive away at a high rate of speed for another 2 minutes and 47 seconds. And it only takes probably, 20 seconds maximum to get to your car from exiting the slider. So you have to think that he spent time out by his car getting rid of his body. Or, excuse me, getting rid of his bloody clothing, not body. Oh yeah, never mind. Oh yeah, never mind that he just stabbed 4 people in the home. No rush to get the heck out of there. Well, but it's true, right? Like, that the dog barking is at 4:18. And the car speeds away at 4:20 and 47 seconds. You don't think he would have rushed out of the house? See, how come you're not using the same logic towards your theories? The dog was barking at 4:18. Don't you think he would have ran out of that house right then? To get the heck out of there, never mind that it's possible someone heard the screaming, yelling, and, well, there wasn't any screaming and yelling, and the barking only started around 4:18. Violence unfolded. Keep in mind, they would have heard this while it was unfolding, so by this time, he would leave the home. It's possible law enforcement could have come to the neighborhood, you see, but, Kohberger, being so calculated, wasn't concerned about being caught at the crime scene. He knew nobody would call the cops, so he casually sat on the property, dumping his Myers jumpsuit in his kill kit. Well, yeah, he killed the only 2 people he knew were alive. Had he seen Dylan, that would be a reason where you would have seen him speeding away at a high rate of speed at 4:18 and 47 seconds. He would have left way quicker, but he didn't see her, so he thought, okay, I killed everybody. I don't know, but he also knew the importance of not putting blood in his vehicle, so he still had to do that no matter what. It sounded like someone was being killed, right? Hey, call the cops before he leaves. Even if he would leave before they arrive, his vehicle is a light bulb at night, and law enforcement would have closed in on him perhaps before, well, not if you went on Volanta Drive. Cross state lines, he would be speeding and definitely wouldn't want to slow down or stop. The point here is that all of that so-called calculated planning to dump the murder weapon and the clothing.
The victims were killed outside. How ridiculous is that?
I know, what is that stupid rumor? How is that even a thing, that they were killed outside and then brought inside the house? There would be blood all over the place. I guess if they completely bled out somewhere else, you could have carried them in. But law enforcement knows that the massive amount of blood is in the house. They were killed there. Okay, hello? You see the mattresses? The mattresses would not have blood on them if they were killed outside somewhere. You get what I'm saying? Or the so-called calculate. Thanks, Timothy Cecil. Okay, you guys, we're only $10. 2 $5 gifted memberships, etc. And then all donate 5 memberships myself, which cost me $25. All right. I'm a Starbucks. Gotta blow my nose again. What an idiot this person is. Zero common sense. Or uses sometimes, but then doesn't use it when it's convenient for them. Of that so-called calculated planning to dump the murder weapon and the clothing requires Kohberger to sit stationary for a moment and think about it. Calculated planning to dump the murder weapon. I think there's 16 minutes of missing time. And think about it. He has to be extremely careful in placing all the bloody clothing into a bag there. Maybe right. That's exactly why I think he waited. He knew how important that was. So no matter how quickly he did it as fast as he could, and then he sped away at a high rate of speed. Maybe DNA left behind in his vehicle, and if you factor in the whole OCD claim, heck, Kohberger would have sat there for even longer, making sure absolutely nothing was left behind, just nonsense, and put into plastic bags, etc., to avoid any transfer into the vehicle. We know that he knows how to not contaminate a crime scene. Oh, I don't know if this is me or not. I can't tell who's how longer. Making sure absolutely nothing was left behind, just nonsense. That's not me. And put in the plastic bags to avoid any transfer into the vehicle. We know that he knows how to, this is me, I think, not to contaminate a crime scene. So I think that's exactly what he's doing in this case, and I think it's amazing how people don't seem to ever bring that part up. So he leaves the home before he gets into his vehicle. He strips down, so I think this is her. So he leaves the home before he gets into a vehicle. He strips down, takes all the bloody clothing off, places it in the bag, and we assume drives home in clothes he had under the Myers jumpsuit. Yeah, this is where the whole naked man claim comes into play, and they tried to claim this is what Bethany saw. This is me again. It wasn't in her affidavit because we never publicly, well, now she's, I don't know if she's quoting me or what she's doing, but some of this is my wording. It is what Bethany saw. It wasn't in her affidavit because we never publicly obtained her affidavit. It never happened, but it was to create the kill kit narrative. They're not fooling they're not fooling the chaos, and hopefully they're not fooling the public as a whole. Okay, look at that. One more, you guys. There you go. There's Elizabeth Brown. We just need one more channel membership or one $5 super chat. And then I'll donate $5 myself. How does that? Elizabeth Brown, we just need one. God, I sound terrible. My nose is messed up. Oh, jeez. I'm getting ready. I have confidence. Yeah, but that was way later in the day. You know, you wonder what he was going to try to buy over there at the Costco there that he couldn't get into. Just need one more, you guys. That's what Bethany saw. It wasn't in her affidavit because we never publicly obtained her affidavit. It never happened, but it was to create the kill kit narrative that they're not fooling the chaos, and hopefully they're not fooling the public as a whole. Kohberger runs after Xana, attacks her, then sees Ethan asleep, slashes his throat. Xana attempts to get back up, and Kohberger tells her, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," and then stabs her again, and she dies. And I guess he wasn't satisfied that, that's up to the word dies, and I think she says, and I guess he wasn't satisfied that Ethan lacked the visual proof of being murdered with slashing his throat, so he carved his legs to make sure he was dead enough. And he probably carved his legs to keep him from moving, or maybe he did it for another reason. You know, whatever it was, it sounds like he carved his legs. Kohberger decides, before I leave this home, where I murdered 2 housemates upstairs and then 2 more on the 2nd floor, I have to carve Ethan's legs to make sure he can't come back to life after the brutality. He then walks out of that room, passes Dylan, who just so happened to have her door open, doesn't see her, but she vividly saw him, and he walks out of the home, through the sliding doors, walks back to the vehicle, takes off the Myers jumpsuit. So this person, you know, I mean, they're kind of quoting my theory, you know. I never mentioned Myers jumpsuit, though. He hasn't contaminated his vehicle and drives back to Pullman. He drives away without anyone knowing he has committed a crime in the home, including Dylan, who saw him. Wow, he was a mastermind, right? Let's continue. I never thought he was a mastermind. I think he's an idiot. Like, made some really stupid mistakes. Man, I've never seen it so difficult in here to get, like, the freaks to get to the goal. You know? Like, normally I can say, hey, guys, we're about 5 short, and boom, 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 boom. Tonight it's, like, just a slog. It's wild. Let's see. Let's continue because there's a massive gap. Like, if you look at the time frame of the audio that they can hear at, I think it's when you can hear some almost sound like yelling a little bit. And then at 4:17 and 50-ish is when you can hear the dog barking. I think this is me talking. So that's likely around the time when he's leaving the residence. And you know, as we know, Dylan saw him leaving the residence, the bushy eyebrow. Then he goes through the kitchen, out the sliding glass door. Now I guess the dog could have been barking, and he still sat there for a couple minutes. But that sort of seems unlikely. Once a dog's barking like that, you probably, this is me, right? I think I put that in my video. And you know you want to get out of there. Oh, he wants to get out of there hearing the dog barking like that. How about trying to murder Madison and Kaylee is right there screaming. Well, she didn't scream though. And even trying to help Madison, he's probably rethinking that plan to go into the home right then. You add the dog barking while the attacks are happening. Notice Hughes doesn't dare mention the dog barking in his little animation. Well, I do, because he already, you know, the dog barks right around the time that he's like leaving, you know. Hey, thanks, Sandy Shirley. All right, there we go. Let's see. And there we go. Right there. Cam Star got one. Man, that was just so difficult. Yeah, thank you, Sandy Shirley. I think she sent a coffee too, right? There we go. The murder Madison Kaylee is right there screaming and even trying to help Madison. He's probably rethinking that. Plan to go into the home. Right then, you add the dog barking while the attacks are happening. Notice Hughes doesn't dare mention the dog barking in his little animation of Kohberger attack. What do you mean? I mentioned it. I told you why he went out to his car, you idiot. Yeah, so that's that point. Kohberger is being overwhelmed with surrounding activity and potential challenges. It's time to get out of there. Then Xana goes upstairs, spots him. He spots her. She runs down the stairs screaming and yelling for Ethan. Yeah, Kohberger is the world of trouble, yet he just continues to stay in the home. He can't leave a witness. You know, because Xana might have, like, who knows what he thought she saw. And at that point, he might have thought she would have called 911. And he knows that he needs to have time to get rid of the blood spatter, so it doesn't make it into the car. So he can't leave any of these witnesses. Had he seen Dylan, I think he would have killed her too, but he didn't. Upstairs, spots him. He spots her. She runs down the stairs screaming and yelling for Ethan. Yeah, Kohberger is a world of trouble, yet he continues to stay in the home, goes on to attack Xana, then slashes Ethan's throat, comes back to Xana and murders her. Well, it's just right in the same time frame. And murders her, then apparently goes back to Ethan and cars his legs and then calmly walks out of the home. It was until he got out of that hysterical scenario where he is in his vehicle and heard the same dog barking and thought to himself, oh, let me get out of here. That dog is going to draw attention to me. You see this again, trying to rationalize a theory that makes no sense. No, he got out of the house. The dog's barking. He gets out of the house. Now he's not in the house anymore. And now he's at his car, and he's got to still do whatever he needs to do to keep that blood from getting into his vehicle. And he knew it was taking him a while. That's why he sped away at a high rate of speed. See how it's more rational when you just think like that instead of these lunatics?
The hoops you have to jump through to believe BK's innocent should be assigned for these people.
Right. The overwhelming evidence and information is proving there was more than one killer, and because there was more than one killer, everybody. All right? Because Gray Hughes is committed to the frame of Kohberger, he will just fall on his face in epic fashion, just like Skeletor and Dateline. Their futile attempts to gaslight the public with this nonsense is making them look very desperate. Just accept the fact that this was a planned attack by a group of individuals. Why are they so scared to just present this as a possible... Now, the reason they're not presenting it is because it didn't happen, and the facts show that it didn't happen. Possibly, it's not like any of those college students are related to you. You don't know them. Why are you so eager to protect? I just go where the facts take me, man. I don't know any of these people. Then, well, because it reveals a lot about the motive behind the murders. Yeah, that doesn't fit the narrative. Society is hardwired to point the finger at lone wolves because they do not fit into the social bubbles of herded sheep. In the college circle, someone like Kohberger would be deemed a loser, and even more so a creeper as well, some to think about it. This image from WSU was carried into the case which the mainstream media latched onto. He wasn't the cool guy, meaning he wasn't the drunken jarhead with underwear wrapped around his head. Just at the same time, he wasn't the same age as that typical frat guy in college, so it's like being around someone who isn't a party animal and actually uses his brain. Man, these guys really respect Kohberger. Like, they wish they could go out on a date with him. In conversations, essentially, he was deemed a loser because he wasn't stupid. The college kids just want to have fun. While Kohberger just wants a small circle of friends and accomplish his goals in the process, presenting photos and TikToks of playful college students is what everyone wants to embrace. But there's always a dark side, and this is what is being protected. Shedding a light on it only brings out the truth, and that the truth is what we fight for. Oh, yeah. They're shedding the light on the dark side of, Madison Mogan and Kaylee, and you guys are freaking, that's it. Anyways, that was all there was. Yeah, see, I got trashed by somebody who is absolutely clueless in the case, doesn't know the information, and has obviously only watched the British guy and the clown and all the other people saying the most ludicrous things you've ever heard. Jeez. What friends? Yeah, I mean. Well, any of you guys have any thoughts about that? That's that weird scene where her hair does weird stuff. Well, I guess that's all I have to offer. My nose is completely plugged, so I thought I would go through that. Maybe I'll do this from time to time. I don't put their names out there, though. Yeah, they're just, I don't want to have anybody go over and give them a view. Yeah, Kohberger, he's such a great guy, If we just knew him a little bit better. Anyways, thank you all for being here tonight. Been another long day. Hopefully I feel better, a little bit better tomorrow. I don't know. But thank you to Only Chevys, gifted a membership, then Ann Taylor Fan Club, then Ted Bundy, then Shay 530, then Ted Bundy again, and then Tamran 127, then Philly Girl, then Michelle H, Jessica Schubach, Ann Berlin, Ted Bundy again, then Cinnamonson Freak, Michelle H, Judy Grandstrand gifted 5 memberships, K Me, Lainey Carter, Curly Lock Diva gifted a membership, then Curly Lock Diva Super Chat, K Me, Timothy Cecil, Ann Taylor Fan Club, Sandy Shirley, M10, Dixie Hippie Investigates, Timothy Cecil, Elizabeth Brown, then Curly Lock Diva, and M10, both get the memberships. Suburban Trap Queen, Dixie Hippie Investigates again, then Mark Ferris, Marcy, Timothy Cecil, Elizabeth Brown gifted 1, then Sandy Shirley gifted a membership, then I gifted 5, and then Ann Taylor Fan Club. I think what makes it hard sometimes to reach the goals, because those nights where sometimes you get like a couple cat eye donations. Like tonight, the largest one was 20, But then there was only one of those, and all the rest, that's what was kind of cool, is we still, you know, made the goal for the day, even on smaller amounts, but it does make it harder when they're missing. Oh man, I feel like, hold on, let me see if my temperature went up. Let's see. Yep, still 98 something. That's about a degree higher for me. Alright, so thanks to Sandy Shirley with the coffee there, and then Rebel Red, and Lisa Valenzuela, and then Ted Bundy with a few coffees there. Let's see. Yeah, man, about to sneeze. Anyways, thank you all for being here tonight. I'm gonna try to put out that video tomorrow, the one on the screen right there. Hopefully you guys watch it. But if you guys can do me a favor when I put it out there, if you could, you know, share the video, I think that would work. But amazingly, even really good videos that I make sometimes just get overlooked. It's crazy. Anyways, thanks for being here tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a specter with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work.
We're all Richard Allen!
Correct.